We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
Thank you so much for taking the time out to speak with us today.
I am very happy to be here.
I loved the film.
Oh, thank you. I'm
Absolutely
glad you
brilliant.
did.
Yeah, no, it's great to see the franchise come back.
Right, yes. I know some people think that I was responsible for spoiling the franchise because when they added Jennifer Tilly, it got very campy and jokey and I think delightful. It became very delightful. And then the edict came down from Universal. Less delightful, more horrifying. And so that's what the Chucky franchise has taken a very dark turn in the last two shows.
It really has as
Yes.
well. But that was going to be my first question. It's like, what? So bringing it back to the franchise, I mean,
Right.
and you've been with it now since like '98, I think it was.
Yes, I know. Don Mancini's always yelling at me because I'm always saying like, oh yes, we're on to the fourth Chucky movie now. And he goes, Jennifer, there were 3 movies before you came on board. He's like, oh my God, Jennifer just thinks the whole franchise started when she started. But yeah, I came on, I think so. I think it was like 98 was when the first movie came out. Yeah.
Well, what keeps you coming back to the franchise? It's about like nearly 20 years on. What keeps you coming back?
Well, first of all, I fought bitterly against being in a Chucky movie because I wasn't a big horror fan. And so I sort of thought, like, to make a horror film or a Chucky film was sort of like, I don't know, I thought it was sort of slumming because I didn't know anything about horror movies. And now I realized over the years that I've become somewhat iconic from being in the Chucky movies. And so now I'm really embracing it. I'm like, oh my God, everywhere I go, people are screaming Chucky and they want hugs and they want me to sign their arms. And I thought, well, it's kind of really nice to be liked and be famous for something. And so and actually Don Mancini is one of my very best friends too. And we get together he makes a Chucky movie every 4 years. So I have job security as long as Don Mancini is running the Chucky franchises because I think even when I'm 90 years old, he's going to have me being chased around by Chucky with my walker. Like, Chucky, get away from me. So job security is a wonderful thing.
Always a good thing.
And, I love the movies. I mean, I think Don has a very twisted sense of humor. I think the reason why this character has endured over 30 years is because people really relate to Chucky as much as you can relate to a homicidal maniac, plastic doll. But, people grew up with Chucky and they really love him and people are super excited new Chucky movies coming out. And I think he also gives the fans what they want, like to bring Fiona Dourif in to play the lead character, who is the daughter of Brad Dourif, who plays Chucky. It's like one of those twisted little inside jokes that Don loves, and he peppers his movies with these sort of strange, bizarre inside references.
Absolutely, yeah. But for you personally, how much fun is it playing Tiffany / yourself?
Well, I love it. I love playing Tiffany Doll, and I love, like, when I was in Cedar Chucky, I played myself, Jennifer Tilly, international film star whose star is somewhat fading. And so we had a lot of fun with that. And I loved that Tiffany was following me around and going, can I have your autograph, Miss Tilly? I'm your biggest fan. Just before she, hit me over the head with one of my awards. It's really fun because I get to play 2 characters, and the characters are very different. One is sort of very narcissistic and self-involved, and the other one is Tiffany. It's narcissistic, self-involved doll that likes to kill people. So they're similar in that they both like fashion and they both have addictions. Like my addiction in real life is gambling and Tiffany's addiction is killing people. So they have things that they struggle with. So I can really relate to Tiffany.
You mentioned Fiona Dourif,
Yes.
who came in on the last movie.
Oh my God, she is so amazing.
I was about to say, what's it like working with her? Because having worked with her dad,
it's a little
in
intimidating because she's like so sexy, gorgeous, and she's such a brilliant actress. And sometimes I'm like lurking around, and I'll see her just doing like there was one particular scene where she's just sobbing, like real tears and falling apart and everything. And then after the scene was over, and I think I was in the scene, I was smirking or something easy like that. After the scene is over, Don ran over and he cradled her in his arms, like, are you all right? Are you? And I was like, oh my God, I was smoking a cigarette. No one's asking how my lungs are. So, yes, I have to say, sometimes I'm like, that's the other woman. Like Don Mancini is like a Mormon and he has 2 wives.
Or he's trying to replace you.
Well, he's not trying to replace me. Miss Tilly is irreplaceable. But, I mean, she's brilliant and she's such a cool girl and I adore her and I love working with her. The last movie, I didn't have any scenes with her. This movie, I have some scenes with her. We're not supposed to do any spoilers.
No,
but
no spoilers here.
So I have some scenes with her. Wink, wink.
What do you think it is about the Tiffany character that fans love so much? Because like as soon as she came into the franchise, she became, like, as you said, iconic.
Yeah, people relate to Tiffany because I think she's in a very bad sort of what do you call it? She's in a codependent relationship with Chucky. She knows he's bad for her. She knows she has things she's struggling, like I said. She wants to be a better person. She's very, it's sad because she wants to be beautiful, but, you know, she's just really just about the ugliest little doll you ever saw. So I think that people, and with her children, she wanted to be a good mother, you know. Everybody wants things they can't have. But I think because her relationship with Chucky is also a very real relationship. Like when I do the voice of Tiffany, I stand in a room with Brad Dourif and we act together. Like in the first movie, Bride of Chucky, when I was dying at the end where I said, we belong dead, I looked over at Brad and he had tears pouring down his face. So I think people can see like sort of the emotion that we put into dolls, and that's why they seem a little more real than some of those other dolls that are out there in the movies. I think Tiffany and Chucky are the couple you want to invite to your party.
Absolutely.
And hide the knives.
Who is a better comedy partner, Chucky or Jim Carrey in Liar Liar?
Well, I would have to say Jim Carrey because, you know, well, Chucky, sorry, Chucky, I'd have to say Jim Carrey. I mean, you are a murdering genius, but Jim Carrey is a comedic genius.
And what can we expect from Tiff in upcoming Chucky movies? Or are we going to see more of Tiff in upcoming Chucky movies?
I don't know, because Don Mancini is some kind of brilliant genius, and you never know what you're going to get next from him as you've seen the film. You never, ever, ever know what's around the corner. And sometimes I think for sure we're going to see more of Tiffany, but I don't know what is going to happen. But, you know, the more Tiffany, the better. Tiffany's another part that I can do until I'm 90 because little plastic dolls never age.
Exactly, yeah.
They never, it's not like the Spider-Man franchise where all of a sudden you're replaced by a younger, more good-looking Spider-Man. Nobody is ever going to replace Tiffany and nobody is ever going to replace Jennifer Tilly. You heard it here first.